Hello, welcome to episode 23 of the Wasting Time podcast. Just by myself today, so I will keep the intro super short. Also for the interview, it was just me. I had my old friend Gary A come up to the flat. We did one live, which was a lot of fun because the last few episodes we've been doing mostly with people in America remotely. So Gary's an old friend of mine. You might know him from the UK punk scene. I first knew him from the band Poindexter back in the early 2000s. He was a big part of that UK punk scene, and then throughout the years he's played in several other bands, including the Telegraphs and Eager Teeth, and he's recently been doing some cool solo stuff. So I think let's just get straight into it. So this is my chat with Gary. Okay, so I'm here with my old friend Gary A.
Hi, Chris.
How's it going, Gary?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Your house is lovely.
Thank you. First time seeing it, isn't it? In fact, it's been a little while since we've had a chance to hang out, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you came to visit once when I was still living in London a few years ago.
Yeah, so we were quite bad like that. I came to visit you. It must have been about 5 years ago.
Yeah, because Luca was still a baby. My son was still a baby. So
yeah, Luca, who's now what, 5?
5? Yeah, he's 5.
5.5, maybe.
Yeah, 5.5. So
okay. Yeah, I came over. You kindly cooked dinner for me. I never repaid the favour.
That's okay.
Until now, but it's with an ulterior motive, so I'm a bad friend. But yeah, so I guess the last time I saw you was when you played that Poindexter show just over a year ago.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, it was very odd getting the guys back together again because, for the benefit of any listeners, Poindexter formed 18 years ago, and we hadn't actually played together for 10 years. So we did a little reunion show in 2008 where So I'm from Burma, and there was a big cyclone that hit Burma. So I was skint at the time, and all my family were donating money, and I was like, I don't know how to help them. And then I decided to put on a charity gig, and I got old mates of mine, a band called My Deaf Audio, to agree to reform, and they wanted to do a cover set of Nada Surf. And I was like, yeah, we'll do that too. And then we ended up doing Weezer.
Yeah, I remember this happening. Yeah.
And then it was really good. And then we just never got together again. And then we got approached by Not Katie's last year to try and do it again. So, but all our own stuff again. So the thing is, though, I've sort of consistently played in bands for the last 18
Well, that seems like a good point to jump in and ask you about your history playing in bands. Because I guess the way we tend to do this is we try and keep things chronological. Obviously, that jumps all over the place, which you'd expect. But I suppose we could try and keep that as a sort of loose structure.
Yeah. Okay.
So when did your love of music start for you?
So I suppose I started playing the guitar when I was 14, and then it wasn't the same as having YouTube and stuff now, where you can become a shredder within 15 minutes because you're just copying someone else's flipping instruction video of how to play 4 Years Strong or something like that. But
those are tough riffs to play.
Yeah, I know. Insane.
I don't even try it.
So I had to learn from videoing loads of crap off the TV, like music festivals and live shows and things like that off the telly. So basically just pressing rewind and stuff all the time. So it was quite a slow process. But I didn't start playing in bands until I was about 16, 17. And then I moved to Brighton, met you obviously, but I just formed Poindexter in 2001.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to... So the bands before Poindexter, is there any of those that stood out for you, or would you rather forget about them? I've obviously before seeing you, I've made some notes, just from knowing you and from memory, really.
I feel a bit bad if I didn't give them a shout out.
Yeah, so, what about those fellas that? So there used to be a show in the, I suppose, late 90s, early 2000s on MTV called MTV Select. that came back to me when I was trying to think of the early years before I knew you. So what was the deal with that?
Yeah, so it was while I was at uni. The band that I'd just been in from school was called Templeton Peck.
Yep.
And we only really had a handful of original songs, and we just did a lot of covers and stuff. But we were quite a loud, fast punk band. And we record for one of our songs, we did a video on Super 8. which basically involved us running around in the woods and me getting beaten to death with an old ramshackle electric guitar.
I remember now. Because you had the VHS recording of this at your place. And I remember you showing me this,
And then my friend Paul, who was the drummer and is now the biggest live video director on the planet, who like directs like Rolling Stones and stuff like that. Oh, Jesus, wow. Absolutely insane. He won a Grammy recently and like stuff like that. But Paul Dugdale, if you're listening, this is for Templeton Peck. And so he sent in a video to MTV and then it won some kind of competition. And so they invited us in to be interviewed on there when I was about 18. And we were interviewed by Donna Air. I don't know if any of your listeners remember Biker Grove. I think we'll struggle. Even 30-year-olds don't remember Biker Grove. It's quite upsetting.
Yeah, sort of mid-30s plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who will remember. What was she like?
She was a bit arsey because we kept making fun of her. And then like she kept going like, I can cut you off at any point.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, that was fun. And then prior to that, Chris, who was in Poindexter, was in my very first band called Siamese Fighting Fish.
Called what, sorry?
Siamese Fighting Fish.
Oh, okay. Nice name. What kind of music was that?
It was like indie punk sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Except we were absolutely rubbish. I don't think anyone would really mind me saying that, like, we just were rubbish. But Templeton Peck were a lot better, but then, like, also a bit rubbish. But then Poindexter was the first band I actually started taking seriously.
Right. So, so both you and Chris went to uni separately, but then just moved to Brighton just for...
Yeah, so...
You didn't know what to do next in life kind of thing. Like.
Yeah, well, the uni bit was quite important to us because, for the genesis of Poindexter and other things, because Chris went to Southampton Uni, which gave birth to loads of pop-punk bands in, like, the year 2000, 2001.
Such as Not Katie's /
Not
Lassie Come Home,
who else? Howard's Alias.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, like, Chris and our friend Ollie Pert, if you're listening, both of them started the punk night at the Nexus, and they started getting bands to play.
Okay.
And this is about the time that deconstruction was happening. So, like, so it started snowballing. There's more and more bands that we knew were coming to play it. And then, like, they'd get other bands who were, like, already established, like Captain Everything, Live Here, and stuff like that to come and play. Ska punk was still really big, and, like, Howard's Alias came from that whole Southampton scene. Not Katie's did as well. Nearly every single one of them did film studies at Southampton Institute, which is what Chris did as well. Yeah. So I ended up making friends with all of them. And Neil Kennedy, who was... who produces everyone
these days.
He
produces loads of people now, right?
Like at his studio, The Ranch, or he was at Southampton Uni as well.
Yeah.
So from that, we just had this whole network of people that just gave birth to our own band, and then we already had a network of people to rely upon to start going on tour with. So like the early Poindexter days, we were touring with...
But when you moved to Brighton, both you and Chris, did you do it with the intent to start a band?
Yeah, so we both decided that our degrees weren't really things that we were going to capitalise on straight away.
Yeah.
So we were like, right, let's go and form a band. That's what we actually want to do. We'd already formed the band with people from Folkestone, where we grew up, before getting there. But then eventually sort of those people were phased out, and then were replaced with mates of ours from Brighton as well. So Tom and Pete were from Brighton, and then they eventually replaced Matt and Luke, our original drummer, who's now in Call Me Malcolm. If you see those guys playing around,
I know them. Yeah, really.
He's the lead singer of Call Me Malcolm. They used to be Luke,
Luke is in
Luke Lionwall. Yeah,
I mean this with the utmost respect, but I remember like he wasn't. I know he was a drummer, but he wasn't really much of a drummer. Is that?
Yeah,
I remember you saying that at the time, like because he was like a singer or
he was a singer, guitarist, and he was in another band called Battlestar Galactica at the time.
Oh, okay,
and then, but off the back of Battlestar Galactica, they all sort of became teachers for a bit, and then they decided to pick up ska punk again, and their new album, or like Call Me Malcolm stuff,
they're doing really, really well, right?
Yeah, like as far as ska punk goes, like they're making waves now. Like
absolutely. I did not know that. That's a cool little fact.
But yeah, and then like it was after Tom and Pete joined Poindexter, I suppose, things kind of started taking off. We recorded a couple of solid EPs, and then we did an album with Ian Weatherall.
Yeah,
You did a record with Ian Weatherall.
I did.
As well, I remember.
Me and my usual co-host Nick, who can't be with us tonight. Yeah, our band
He's not dead.
back in the day. He's not dead. But yeah, we essentially went to go and record with Ian Weatherall just to like copy you. And, like,
well, I heard the record. He did a good job. Yeah.
He was a genius, really. I thought, like,
your record sounded better than ours did.
Your one, like, I feel like, I'm sure you told me at the time, like, you tracked it just live at the same time, or am I imagining that?
We tracked everything live. We weren't very tight, like, in terms of, like, playing on point or anything like that. So it was pointless trying to do things to a click or anything like that. So we ended up just tracking everything live.
Yeah.
Pretty much did all the instrumental in, like, 2 days, and then we only really had 4 or 5 days booked in. And then by the time day 3 kicked in, when I had to do the vocals, my hay fever kicked in. And I was like, and I really had to struggle to get the vocals out. And then I ended up sounding extra American on, like, on the record. Not that I didn't sound American anyway, but yeah, because of the fact that I had a blocked up nose for the whole thing. Corby in Northamptonshire is a very bleak and boring place. I
can verify that. Yeah,
right. The studio was right by a cricket pavilion, and there was like nothing to do during the day.
Oh, do you know what? That just reminds me of something. So recently, the band I play in currently, we played a gig with this brand new band, but the singer was in a band called, do you remember Fastlane?
Yeah, I remember Fastlane.
Like,
I'm played a bunch of shows with them.
Yeah, like, do you know, is it Ben? Is he called Ben, the lead singer?
Bald
guy.
He used to wear a baseball cap.
Yeah.
But he was an engineer at the blasting rooms for a while. Not blasting rooms. What's the decent studio in England called? Where? Blasting Rooms is where, like, Bill Stevenson records from
really?
Descendants.
I feel like I should know this, but I feel ignorant all the time.
But there was like a UK studio where about 10 years ago, loads of pop punk bands were going to there. Okay. Around the same time as, like, Ramesh Dadangoda and stuff like that, who was doing, like, a really sort of well-polished, like, pop-punky sound. Yeah. And that guy, was it John Mitchell, maybe? Yeah. His studio was doing, like, loads of stuff. And I think someone from Fastlane was working there as an engineer.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
maybe
I'm like 90% sure it was him who was telling me this, but we were reminiscing about all those days and stuff, and obviously they recorded there. But he said, like, and this will not shock you, like, one time, so they were all out having a drink, you know, because it was on that rugby.
Oh yeah, it was on
and like they were all sat there and like. These kids turned and like beat the shit out of them
quite really?
badly. Yeah, but it was quite, as you say, it was a grim area. So like, yeah,
there was nothing nearby except a curry house and a strip club.
Yes,
there wasn't even a pub, just a curry house and a strip club. It's like, which one do you go to for a beer?
Can you remember much of like what it was like working with Weatherall? Did he like contribute any ideas or anything, or did he just act as an engineer?
He was well. Every band, I guess, who went with him were like a little bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Like, not like these days where a lot of bands know exactly what they want when they go to a studio. Like, so he was making such positive suggestions all the time. And it was kind of cute because in his little control room, it's all like, this is like manual mixing desk, reel to reel back there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had this little framed photo with him with a massive curly mullet with Brian
May. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah,
it's amazing.
I feel like that there's a chorus on one of those songs on that album of yours. Is it? It's the song called Identikit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
it's like a really layered vocal.
Yeah,
thing.
Massive boy band.
Yeah,
great chorus. But I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that you couldn't write something like that, but I could imagine. Because I just remember with us, he gave us a few ideas for like big vocals and different harmonies.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like, he would be in the control room, I'd be on my own, and I was trying to do as much of the vocals on my own as possible, but letting Tom do some of them. And then like every now and then he'd punch in like, "You're aiming a little bit too high. Why don't you try it like this?" It's like, I'll do it like that, and like making positive suggestions to give myself a break. And then he made it sound amazing. That was my first proper ever like time in a studio, like where I spent a few days doing something.
Yeah. You guys sleep on the mattresses and the floor.
There was a drippy ceiling and everything. But like for the most part, it was actually really, really fun.
Yeah.
And we were really proud of that record. I think the boys still are. I am.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't listened to it in its entirety for a long time, but like, you know, the standout songs from the time, like that you've sent me in the recent years, sound really good. And also hearing the songs live last year sounded great.
So, well, here's an interesting fact.
Go on.
For ages, I've been badgering all the other three guys to see if they could dig out a copy of our second EP, Would Like to Meet.
I remember that.
And no one had it. And like, I was like, I don't even have a copy. I don't even know where it is. Does anyone have a copy? And everyone's like, oh, I got a CD up, it's broken and all this stuff. And I just resigned myself, because one of the tracks isn't present on anything. Like, Alex Kidd in Miracle World. It was like a pop punky song.
Oh.
But like,
I don't remember it by name, but I remember Are We There Yet was on that EP, wasn't it?
The other three songs on that EP ended up on the album, re-recorded.
But not that one.
And I was really kicking myself to try and listen to it again.
Yeah.
And then this random Russian kid got in touch with me last year.
Oh, that's amazing.
Are you the singer of the band Poindexter? And I was like, yeah? How the hell do you know who I am? He tracked me down on Facebook and like private messaged me, and he was like, I found your discography online, and like I wanted to find out about you. And I was like, are you still playing? I was like, well, funnily enough, we just played a reunion show, but... And then I was like, well, for that reunion show, I re-recorded one of our songs that we never got to properly record at home. It was when I just started like doing stuff in studio stuff at home.
Yeah.
And so like it was just to commemorate the occasion. I did like a new version of one of our last songs, Repeat to Fade.
Oh, okay.
And then and so I gave him that as like, because he asked if we had any more material. I was like, by the way, where did you find our back catalogue? And he's like, it's on this Russian like punk blog site. And I was like, so he sent me it. He sent me the link, and I was like, oh my God, I've got the whole Poindexter discography.
So you've got it now?
Yeah, I've got it.
Oh, amazing. So you went and did that record with Weatherall. It was off on your own volition, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we self-funded it out of like either our own money and t-shirt sales. I think it only cost us like 800 quid or something.
Had you done much actual touring at that point, or was it mainly sort of the odd show in Southampton and London, and obviously loads in Brighton?
Yeah, odds and sods. We hadn't really done a full tour until maybe after that. Like, we'd already made friends with a lot of the bands we'd end up going on tour with, like Captain Everything, My Dad Joe, stuff like that. Yeah. And then just after we recorded the album, we ended up going on a tour with like Belvedere and Captain Everything. Okay. How did you land that tour? Was it just through being friends with them? I can't even remember. I think, Chris used to do all the negotiation, in terms of touring and stuff. I think he just networked with Captain Everything and got us on that tour. And then, like, this was like ages ago, so Belvedere were like very young at the time. So, and then, like, we ended up getting co-opted by Punktastic, and then Paul Savage, the original editor of Punktastic, was a big fan of Poindexter, and then he gave us a good review for our album. I remember reading it. Yeah, and then he put us on the Punktastic. Used to do a headline, or like have a tour that they had get two bands to like co-headline. Yeah. Sorry, can I just jump in 1 second? Weren't you signed to something called Open Fire Records or something around this time? Yeah. And was that before this, or did it come after? I can't remember how that happened. Open Fire was based in Corby as well. So we got approached for someone to like just give us distribution, and we were like, oh, okay. Yeah, fine. But then also we were kind of hoping for another stepping stone. Yeah. And then we got put on the Punktastic co-headline tour. Oh, okay. So Open Fire was just distribution. And in the end, we ended up having a self-release because I was going to say, I don't something remember. Happened to the guy that ran the label. Oh, he was quite a young lad, like maybe about 5 years younger than us, and I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 years younger than us. And like he was in like a car accident or something like that, and then he ended up having to fold the company. So we ended up putting the record out ourselves in the end. Okay, fair enough. So you were saying Punktastic. So yeah, Punktastic put us on their co-headline tour in 2004 with Echo Freddy, who is still good friends of ours. Yeah. And then they were a Manchester sort of pop punk band. Yeah, they were a lot poppier than we were at that point, because we started off quite pop punky, like Atari-y sort of stuff. Yeah, and then we kind of evolved into like a little bit post-hardcore-y, I suppose. We were getting into bands like Thrice and Brand New and stuff like that. We don't talk about brand new.
Yeah, I know. they're conveniently forgot about by all the people that love them. As someone who's never a big fan, I'm just like, why are you guys talking about them?
This is the thing. I was never a big fan of brand new.
Isn't that what everyone said? No, I'm joking. Yeah.
No, but like I honestly wasn't. And then like I had that first album, and then when like Paul reviewed the
I still remember reading his
that review. He's like, these guys listen to brand new a lot. It's like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. I was like, this saves the day. Saves the day. Ataris, maybe a bit of Thrice, but like not brand new.
So was it just you and Echo Freddy? Was the Maple State involved in this at this time?
We did play a show with those guys, I think.
Yeah.
I think, like, because they were from... Are they near Manchester as well?
Yeah, that's
I think we ended up playing, like, a hometown gig with those guys.
You know they're active again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, incredible.
So, like, I write for I write for that Dying Scene website sometimes. And I picked up a couple of things in the Dying Scene inbox from them. And they're kind of... It's, like, sort of straightforward indie now. I don't know if that was what they were about back in the day, but... Yeah, they seem to be, like... Yeah, cool. Relatively active again.
How old are they now? I can't imagine.
I don't know. I think they're
probably like a couple of years younger than me.
So like that
late 30s. Oh, cool. I'll have to check them out then.
Yeah, do. I was like the stuff I listened to. I shared a couple of stories about them. And I thought it was decent.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so you're saying it was you and Echo Freddy.
And then like off the back of that tour. Echo Freddy ended up getting put on Punktastic's fledgling label.
Yeah, I remember.
And we didn't, it was a fair cop because Punktastic couldn't take a punt on a less poppy band.
Oh, okay. So did that Paul guy like kind of basically say that to you?
He was trying to weigh it up between the two of us, and then he was like, "I love you guys, but for our first signing, we've got to have quite a poppy band."
Yeah. How well did they do in the end?
I don't remember. They did a bunch of decent shows with, like, do you remember that band Sugar Cult?
Of course.
They went on tour with Sugar Cult.
Oh, they did a tour with Sugar Cult, yeah.
Can't remember now. I kind of zoned out after that. After that tour, the other two guys, or Pete and Tom, just decided that they had enough of, like, slogging it out. And I was about to get married at the time as well, so, like, it was kind of about a good time to wrap it up. So, and then like none of us did any bands for a little while afterwards, but I ended up forming an indie band in London shortly afterwards called Cable Street Spy Club.
Yeah, I'm good remembering all this stuff, Gary. I've got that written here. I wanted to. I don't know if I've ever spoken to you about. I must have done, but I remember a mutual old friend of yours and mine, Alan, telling me this, and so I've written it. So this, I think, slots in timeline wise before Cable Street Spy Club, but is it true you had a chance to join the Ordinary Boys just before they blew up and you turned it down, or is that just...
this kept happening to me. So, I remember, like... So, like... No, I hate to say... This sounds awful. I don't want to sound arrogant or anything. But, like... Because I'm friends with Scuttle now. Do you remember Scuttle, post-hardcore band from Brighton?
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
I used to, like, worship those guys, and they were on, like, John Peel once, and I was like, wow. It's like, how did a post-hardcore band got John Peel? And it turns out John Peel just plays anything sometimes. But, but we played a bunch of shows with those guys, and I thought they were brilliant. Yeah. And then I got an email from who's now my friend Burton saying... Would you be interested in trying out for the guitar place in Scuttle? Mm-hmm. And I was loyal to Poindexter, so I said no.
What point in Poindexter history was this?
That was before we did the album.
Okay.
So and then
relatively early compared to okay.
They asked me if I'd try out, and I said no. And then the Ordinary Boys, I was friends with those guys because they did actually used to be a very reputable post-hardcore band.
I remember.
Well, not even post-hardcore, like melodic hardcore.
And
many years later, I would get into Lifetime and I realised exactly where they got their sound from. But they sounded exactly like Jersey's Best Dancers. Yeah. That's basically been my blueprint for like so many punk bands since then.
Yeah.
And then like, unlike a lot of the other people in the punk scene, they like lots of Britpop and the Smiths and stuff like that. Yeah, they're named after like of course Morrissey song, and I was a big Smiths fan. I think I just bumped into him in a cafe once in Brighton, and they were like, "Do you want to see my new tattoo?" And then it was like Viva Hate on his toes or something, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got a Smiths tattoo," and I rolled my sleeve up, and I remember
when you got that.
The boy with a thorn in his side. And then they're like, "Whoa, you like the Smiths? Let's be friends." And then I stayed friends with them. I'm still friends with a couple of them now.
You're still friends with Sam?
Yeah, Sam. Yeah, I see every now and then. Like, he lives in Brixton now.
Does he still? Did he have a career like as a songwriter after all?
Yeah,
like,
he's doing really well as a songwriter now.
Yeah.
Like
I remember like John Feldman once tweeting about I'm with Sam Preston writing some songs and stuff. So I remember thinking, I'm jealous.
He's done a load of cool stuff. Like, he wrote a song for Cher. He wrote he wrote that song "Heart Skips a Beat" by Ollie Murs, and then that got him a platinum record, and then because it did really well in like loads of other countries.
Yeah,
and then,
so he's ultimately made a decent.
He just works for like a songwriting think tank sort of thing.
Very cool.
But yeah, and then Charlie, who was the original drummer of the Ordinary Boys, stayed friends with him, and then we had a hardcore band last year together called Agony Aunt.
Yeah, I remember you posting about that.
We're like dad friends because we both got kids and we live near each other, so we take the kids down the park together and stuff.
Nice.
And then there was a point where Sam asked me if I would consider joining the Ordinary Boys when they remodeled, but
so what point was this? Was this before they had their success?
Yeah, so before they reformed into an indie, like a mod indie band.
Yeah.
He asked me if I would consider it, and then I think I just said no again.
Was it just out of loyalty / optimism that Poindexter was kind of going places? Or?
It was more loyalty than optimism with Poindexter. I wasn't really reaching for the heights.
Okay.
And also, I liked what we were doing in Poindexter.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if Sam had said, "Oh, we're going to stick to the post-hardcore stuff, do you want to join?" I would have said, "Yeah." Oh, okay. I didn't want to be in an indie band at the time.
So, do you, like, looking back now, or even at the time when they started to obviously have that success, were you like thinking?
I was slightly kicking myself because that first Ordinary Boys record I actually really like.
Yeah,
it is quite moddy indie, but it was right at the time when like all that, quite a lot of all right indie was coming out. You know, like Franz Ferdinand and things like that, and like we were all hanging out at indie clubs. We were just playing all those records all the time, and then like. But to be honest, I don't really know how valid that offer actually was.
Okay, fair. But it's really weird because I remember, the first version of the Ordinary Boys, and I thought that was it. And then I just remember one day, like my dad coming in, he was watching Soccer AM, saying, "Oh, do you know a band called the Ordinary Boys?" And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, they just totally transformed. But I used to adore them when they were a post-hardcore band.
I remember.
It wasn't just because I thought they were great people.
Yeah.
It was just because I thought that the music was absolutely amazing. They were like one of the
some catchy songs.
Yeah, like they were just,
I saw them a whole bunch of times in those days, and
it was like as I came to understand, it was basically just Lifetime, but like but I love Lifetime.
So that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks. You satisfied my curiosity with that one. You were talking about Poindexter being over, and this. Did you say this was in London? This when you formed this indie band?
Yeah. So I was going to get married, and then I moved in with my fiance in London.
Yeah.
And I was.
Where in London were you living at the time?
I was in Bethnal Green.
Oh, okay, quite near to where we are in Stratford
far.
right now. Yeah.
Bethnal Green was really rough back then.
Even Bethnal Green was.
Yeah, like there's a nice middle class side and a really rough side. Like the left hand side of Bethnal Green High Road was the posh bit, and the right hand side of Bethnal Green High Road was like the rough bit.
Oh, okay.
And then like there was so ethnically diverse along the streets.
Yeah.
In terms of like really nice little stalls and stuff like that, and shops and things, and little just like market stalls and stuff. And then I remember just going for a little investigative pub crawl down Bethnal Green High Road.
Yeah.
Every single pub was just full of really nasty, like, right-wing white dudes who were, like, really horrible. And I was like, I don't know what to make of the integration here.
Yeah, fuck.
But yeah, I ended up getting really bummed out first while I was living there because I was skint. And then, like, I made a friend with a guy called John who wanted to form a band with me, and he wanted to do an indie band. We weren't very good, but like I thought the songs were really good and like did all right. And then the band kind of imploded after a bit of an argument between a couple of people in the band.
Were you involved in that argument?
No. But yeah, that was a shame. Yeah, and then I had a bit of time out from doing bands, started DJing a lot.
Yeah.
Had my own like indie club where I put like bands on and things. Punk had kind of disappeared for quite a while. Like in between 2007 and 2006 and 2008, there was no punk anywhere.
Yeah,
everyone
well,
started wearing trilbies and shit, and like you know, like.
Well, I feel like you certainly from post-hardcore or pop punk or whatever, like around that time, like you're right. The alternative music world here was quite distant from it, and like I remember like whenever I'd see you, because I'm a nerd with like my pop punk, just like consistent. But if I referenced it like any bands that were happening at the time, you're just like,
well, the thing, like everyone just dropped off the radar.
I mean, you weren't a dick about it or anything, like many other people I've known. But
I've never made fun of pop punk because I never forget where I come from.
Yeah.
And like here I am back in the fold anyway, but like yeah, it's weird because around the same time as when like Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy were just getting big.
Yeah.
And I suppose like when Taking Back Sunday finally blew up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was just totally off my radar for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But then I kind of got back into it off the back of... so I used to DJ Club NME in Brighton for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And then after I got approached by a girl at... I was having a fag in the smoking area outside. And she was like, oh, do you know any guitarists? I'm looking for a guitarist. And I was like, I play guitar. And she was like, oh, do you like, what sort of bands do you like? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I used to play in a post-hardcore band. They're like, oh, that sounds brilliant. Oh, do you like Biffy Clyro? And I was like, not really. But I like other sort of, like, alternative, like, emo-y bands. Like, Jimmy Eat World and, like... stuff like that, and she's like, oh, that sounds perfect. And then she was like, do you like Scottish bands? Like, what sort of Scottish band? And I was like, at the time I was thinking, oh, like Teenage Fan Club and like C86 band, brilliant. Jesus and Mary Chain, yeah. And then she just meant like Biffy Clyro and Twilight Sad and stuff like that. Okay. But I ended up trying out for their band and then ended up getting the place, and this was Telegraphs.
I assume that's where this was going.
And then...
oh, okay.
They all thought I was some kind of reprobate because when I met them, I had a tooth missing because I'd fallen over. I was at Luke from Not KT's Stag Do, and I fell over
Luke
and I
Hefson?
Luke Hefson, yes,
sir.
And I fell over and I smashed my front teeth out.
I saw you. I remember like meeting you for a drink like not long after that
when I had the tooth missing. Man.
Well, didn't you say like you were walking along with someone like arm in arm? Like
it was me and Luke were skipping up.
It was actually Luke.
Me and Luke were skipping up the street.
And
then we started skipping faster and faster, and then one of us hit the deck or tripped, and we both ate shit on the floor.
Yeah,
Luke landed on his eye, and his wife was going to kill him for having a black eye. Which did actually go down by the time of the wedding. Okay. But then, someone sent her a photo the next day of Luke with his black eye. And she's like, oh my God, you bastards, what have you done to him? And she's like, and then they were like, you should see Gary. And then they sent a photo of my face, and I had no teeth in my front.
Fuck me.
And then she's like, oh.
That sounds
not so bad.
Fucking horrible.
Yeah, it was shit. And then, but I had 3 of them replaced straight away, but I had to wait for one of them because I'd totally done a number on it and I had to have a root canal and stuff. And then during that time is when I met Telegraphs, and then they offered me a chance to be in their band. And it was really, really fun. Like, they were going places, and like I hadn't actually...
Were they... sorry, before I ask this question, I should just say, if the listener can hear anything weird in the background, it's because my next door neighbour... I think she's in some sort of folk band, and like I must be once a month. It's always on the fucking Tuesday. I hear like drums coming through the wall.
Is it like that show Love, where like Gus has people around the house and do?
It's funny you say that, right? So to be fair to her, it must be. I was worried it was going to be every Tuesday, and it must be like once a month or something, because like there was a Tuesday like some weeks ago now, and I was watching TV with Parisha, my girlfriend, and it was just driving us mad. And I had to go and do the awkward thing. Say, can you turn it down? Because she's very nice, my neighbour. But then she was like, "Oh, can you give us 10 more minutes?" Half an hour goes by, still going. Knock on the door. She doesn't answer this time, and that really pissed me off. She hasn't done it since then. But I was really pissed off that night, and that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Gus, but I was like, I wonder.
Making up theme tunes to films that don't have a theme tune.
That's it. Which is so awesome. I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah,
although
so
the longer it goes on, you realise that Gus is actually a prick.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And then like Mick,
Well, I think they're both mixed. I think fundamentally, I don't think either of them are a prick, but I think
they're both quite flawed.
They both have big flaws.
The prickness drifts way towards Gus towards the end.
Yeah, I think.
I feel like
I think this is too much of a tangent, but
we're digressing a little bit.
But yeah, so anyway, if that's what you can, hopefully it's not coming through, but that's what it is.
We should go and have a jam later.
Sorry, Gary. So with the Telegraphs, they were quite established at this point. Then
they were in the infancies of being established, so they were charging it at full steam with like proper. So they just recorded an album with Dave Ehringer, who was quite significant in the Britpop years of like he'd done like Manic's albums, Idlewild. You used to like Idlewild, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah?
I did. Yeah. I was like, my face was glazing over when he said Manic's, but then Idlewild, and I was like, oh, they had some.
He recorded nearly every Idlewild album.
Oh, cool.
And then and a bunch of other stuff in the 90s as well.
Yeah.
And so I listened to the album. It was really good. And so I joined the band, and then basically they were pitching to booking agencies and things like that, and like scoping out big labels and things. So and they were doing a lot of industry networking and stuff like that. So I kind of joined at a really good time because from the word dot, we started getting really good shows. Like went on tour with the Datsuns, went on tour with like
what kind of venues were you playing with the Datsuns?
Like big-ish ones, like we played the Concord in Brighton, and then we played. That was like my first show with them. It was like playing the Concord in Brighton,
like to a fairly substantial.
Yeah, that's
crowd,
like 600 cap, and then we played the Wedgwood Rooms in Portsmouth on that tour and stuff, and then it kind of like imploded after or exploded after a while because we did a couple of littler tours in the beginning of the year, and then by mid 2009 we had a really good booking agent that turned out to be our manager as well, and she was really kind to us, and she knew I loved loads of like emo and post-hardcore from the late 90s, early 2000s. So all of a sudden we're going on tour with like rival schools and Get Up Kids and like Thursday and Poison the Well, and I'm like, holy Poison shit.
The Well. Before, like, I've definitely got a bunch of questions asked about this era of the Telegraphs, but
we went down like a lead shit at all those shows.
I remember you telling me at the time. Can I tell you a really fun fact about Poison the Well? But I play in a band called
Fintan Stack,
obviously named after the
Father Fintan Stack from Father Ted.
Exactly, a character from Father Ted. So
was he the one that impregnated everyone? Or was he? No,
he was he replaced Father Jack because Father Jack had hairy hands and had to go off, and he was like worse than Father Jack.
Oh yeah, I know it's the milkman.
You're thinking of the milkman.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the actor / comedian who plays Fintan Stack, he's quite famous in Ireland for being a comic there.
Yeah.
But his son's one of the guys in Poison the Well.
What?
I know.
His son is in Poison the Well.
Yeah.
That is absolutely
cool is
genius.
That?
That's a golden factoid.
Yeah.
How the geography alone? How?
So he lived in America for many years. So his son, who I think is about the same age as me, was like sort of born and raised in America.
Okay.
So I think when he was playing Fintan Stack, he was probably based in America for the most part. But yeah,
that is absolutely incredible.
That? Yeah.
Fintan Stack's son is in Poison the Well. That's incredible.
Yeah,
I've got.
I just so now you know why I felt that I needed to share that fact.
So I have a funny story about Poison the Well.
Oh yeah, please.
So I didn't really meet them very well. I didn't really get to hang out with them properly, but we did 3 shows with them on the last leg of a UK bit of a Thursday tour.
Oh yeah,
which ended in Nottingham at the Rescue Rooms. Is it Rescue Rooms that's next to Rock City? I can't remember now. But yeah, all of the bands decided to stick around and party because it was the last day of the tour. and the rescue rooms turns into like a student club afterwards. Like it is like a big bit next door, and it was Movember, and everybody at the time had beards because like we'd all been on tour for ages and no one had been bothered to shave. There was a guy sitting around the back of like it was basically like a sponsored Movember night, and he was getting people to shave. He had a beard trimmer and a barber's chair, and he was getting people to shave moustaches.
Right.
And so like Tucker out of Thursday did his beard, and then Darcy out of Telegraphs did
He's your singer, right?
Yeah, he's a singer. Yeah. Did his beard, and like they all had handlebar moustaches. I refused because I think I was sober, and then like the guys out of Poison the Well did as well. But I don't even think they were drinking, and they were really mad about it. They were going, "Stop looking at me! Stop laughing at me! I look like a fucking asshole! I look like an asshole!" And then like they're just getting their beard shaved into handlebar moustaches, and then we all had photos taken afterwards.
Yeah.
And those dudes out of Poison the Well were just not impressed in the slightest. They're just like, "I look like stop laughing at me! I look like a fucking asshole!"
Oh, you think he'd be a little more take himself less seriously having the guy like Fintan Stack, but
I don't know if it was Fintan Stack's son, but like, maybe it was.
What was it like touring with the Get Up Kids? How many shows did you do with them?
I only did one in the end. So basically,
was it in Germany or somewhere?
Yeah, it was in Frankfurt, and so we had a split tour in Germany where we did 4 dates with rival schools, 3 dates with Thursday, and then we ended up doing a UK run with Thursday as well.
Okay.
But we had a day off in between, and our booking agent basically, she knew I loved the Get Up Kids because she'd already got me into the very first Get Up Kids reunion show at Kingston Peel. And then she was
Kingston
like,
Peel, that was cool.
And then she was like, "I've got a surprise for you, Gary. Your day off, you're going to be supporting Get Up Kids." Like Frankfurt Batch Cat. And I was like, "Oh my God, that is absolutely rad."
So, but was it? You said you guys didn't go down that well at these.
I don't know. I think we did actually go for those shows. We did actually go down all right.
Okay, but like when you were playing them, obviously that must have been amazing. But at the same time, were you thinking, "I wish it was Poindexter doing this"?
A little bit. Although I don't think Poindexter would ever have been allowed to do that.
no, of course.
But yeah, I don't know. Like Telegraphs are an emo-y band as well.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't have been in them otherwise.
No, fair.
But then, yeah, like I think the shows that we didn't go down that well were for like rival schools because they were expecting heavier, of a heavier support act, and then also the shows that we did with Thursday and Poison the Well, like they were expecting like a heavier support act and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
But the Get Up Kids one was fine, and we were main support that day. There was a German band below us. And then and then we played. It was a really good day, even though it was like the hottest day of the year. It was like unbearably hot.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was quite disappointed to find out that the Get Up Kids weren't very talkative at all. Like,
okay, I remember you telling me not long after it, they weren't very talkative with each other. They were like Matt Pryor, is it? That's the main singer, isn't it?
Yeah. And then
him and the other guy, like they had to have separate dressing rooms and stuff.
So like they had their own dressing room, but the buffet was in our dressing room because there was no room for it in there. So we had like a long table in our dressing room because it was the one closest to the stage. And Jim Stuptic spent the whole time in there with us.
Yes, I remember
and the others were all in their own room with it on their laptops and not talking to each other. And then Jim was just in the other room talking to us. And I don't think they really got along with him that well.
Oh, I see.
It was very early. I don't even know what the circumstances was around like the Get Up Kids separation.
Yeah.
But I get the impression there's some tensions within that band.
Yeah.
So there's obviously guys in that band who stayed close and stuff, but like I think Jim Suptic's always been on the periphery a little bit. But I think that's pretty much where my nerdery about like Get Up Kids stops.
Right, okay.
But I still have a frame.
Was he the one who started Blackpool Lights? Did you ever hear them?
Oh no, I don't think I heard them. But
I think that was his one.
I still have a framed print of the gig poster from that
cool.
show in my house because they were taking all the posters down while we were sound checking so they could rotate them for the future acts, future bands and stuff.
Made sure
I was like, you got to spare one of those.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So when did Telegraph split up? Because these shows you're talking about, because this is about 2009, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
so how much longer did it go on after
So maybe
that?
we made it till about like halfway through 2010.
Yeah.
So
what went wrong there?
well, the beginning of the year started to a strong start. Went on tour with Thrice, and
Really?
yeah, and then like
What was that like?
it was good. The shows were really good, but it was kind of a little bit black clouded because the reason they had a fill-in guitarist called Nate who was from a band called the Deer Hunter because Tepe Tiranishi's mum had taken ill and was on death's door basically. So so yeah, the other guys were nice enough, but like they just weren't in very high spirits because they were worried about their friend. They're all like childhood friends. And stuff
I see.
like that. So, and so Tepe couldn't be there with them for the first time ever, like on any of their tours. But yeah, the shows were pretty cool, and we got to know those guys quite well, and we actually went down quite well because around that time, Thrice were doing a lot of introverted stuff. And we had this other band, We Are the Ocean, lumped onto the tour last minute.
Yeah.
And We Are the Ocean are very similar to Alexis on Fire a bit. But we found that they weren't actually going down that well because they were too heavy. And like a lot of the people who were coming to those shows were interested in Thrice's newer direction.
Okay.
So like, it's not really that common when people go to a Thrice show and they want everyone to play Deadbolt or something like that.
Right.
Like, although they do play Deadbolt.
Right, okay.
And I actually really like their early stuff. But, but everyone wants to hear all their nerdy things like Major Minor. And this was the Beggars tour that we were doing. So we actually went down quite well on that tour. But then shortly after that, we were basically pitching higher and higher, but not really making enough of a ripple. And like, the first album came out on Small Town Records. But then we were trying to...
Yeah, I remember Small Town Records.
We auditioned for...
on one of their very first ever comp.
Yeah, they're a pretty solid label. Like, I'm still friends with those guys. But Telegraphs were kind of aspiring a little bit higher, and I wasn't really privy to the conversations, but like we would end up pitching to like quite big labels and things, but then getting overlooked a lot. And then it came down to whether we should remodel or push through, and then everyone wanted to remodel, but I kind of didn't. So
in what kind of way did they want to remodel? What direction?
So we basically, the whole time I'd been in the band, we'd been writing a new album, and we'd pretty much 90% there, and then I think everyone just wanted to start again, and I wasn't ready to do that really.
Okay, fair.
But I have no like bad blood with any of those guys, and
You're
they're
still friends with them?
Yeah, they're all like intimate family really. Like we all really care about each other and
cool.
stuff. Like, but sadly, the only times we really get together these days is when one of us gets married. But but that seems to be happening all the time lately, which is good.
So there's been a few get-togethers.
So we're still in relatively good touch. And like I don't think there was any bad, but I think eventually just the money ran out. Really, like we couldn't just keep chucking money at it. Really. And as much as I love Telegraphs, the whole experience kind of soured my interaction with sort of mid-level record industry stuff.
Okay, yeah.
I was just like, these guys don't care about us. These guys don't really know what's going to be big next. They're just clutching at straws. And like, it's really heartbreaking when you're in a band that's chucking everything at it.
Yeah.
And then you're confronted by people that hold all the cards who don't really know very much about anything. And then but they know people, and that's the only commodity. It's the only commodity, and it's just like, well, this is rubbish. And then after Telegraph split up,
Eager Teeth.
Yeah, Eager Teeth.
Yeah,
so
that was pretty soon afterwards, I feel like.
Quite soon. It's less than a year afterwards, I think.
It was still 2010 when you started Eager Teeth, I remember.
So that was the brainchild of my ex-housemate, Aaron, who's one of my best friends.
Oh, is he the one who was in...
This City.
Who are on Epitaph?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's many a story about Aaron, this city, and Epitaph that he would love to tell you.
Any not podcast friendly or?
No, he just used to like going on about it.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Sorry. Yeah, I don't blame him.
Sorry, Aaron.
So you still good mates with him? I remember him. He was,
he's a good guy.
Good guy, yeah.
But he basically left this city semi-acrimoniously, and he kind of wanted to do something better, and then he's like, basically, he got our friend Mike to do a really decent video for us for one of their songs, called Lights Out, and then
I remember.
and then off the back of that, we got signed to a management company, and then we got signed to a record label, and then
what label was that?
it was a Wolf at Your Door.
Yeah, that was it.
So there we were with like Death Havana and like what are they called? Lower Atlantis and things like that. But yeah, that was good going for a while. The thing that I was trying to do with Eager Teeth, because I did write a fair bit of it, I was just trying to stick two fingers up at all the people that annoyed me in the record industry that I'd met previously in Telegraphs. Yeah. I was like, you guys are knobs. I'm going to make fun of you as much as I can. So lots of little wry digs in lyrics and things.
Oh, really?
With people like that. But no one really got the point. And then and then we recorded our record with Tom Mitchener and Steve Sears, who were both played in the band Spycatcher, but were also both producers. Okay. And did the first Gallows record without Frank Carter. And they did... Well, they've done every Gallows record after that. And then they've done... and Mitch is also in Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes as well.
Wow. Okay.
But all of those records were done in Mitch's back garden, which is like amazing. Really? His dad is like an old muso from the 60s, and he converted their garage into like a fully functioning studio. Right. But it was just at the foot of their garden. You just walked to the other end of their garden, and their house was there, so we had to keep using the toilet in the house, and like his mum would be cooking dinner and stuff like that. And then, like, I can imagine, like, Wade McNeil from Alexis on Fire, like, sleeping on Mitch's bedroom floor. Quite surreal. And then, like, having to go, sorry, Mrs. Mitchell, can I use the toilet, please? But, yeah, that was a fun experience. But, yeah, I was happy with that record. But after a while, Eager Teeth started spiraling towards the same industry crap, and
that must have been frustrating.
Yeah, there was a couple of incidents that really soured me from ever getting involved again. Like, do you remember Front Magazine?
Yeah.
During Telegraphs years, and also in Eager Teeth, they were like quite strong allies of ours. They were like, always gave us good props, always gave us good reviews, and we got a lot of coverage in Telegraphs through like Front Magazine. They gave us like that new band spread, double spread, and then like we appeared in a couple of their other magazines as well. And then Eager Teeth got a double spread in Front Magazine, which is cool. But they do this thing on it in the article, which is just made up, called Musical Maths, and it's like a little infographic of how you get to this band. It's like for fans of type thing.
Yeah, okay.
And I can't remember what the Telegraphs one was, but Front Magazine's one was like Brighton times punk rock. No, punk rock times Brighton minus the gay scene equals Eager Teeth.
Oh wow, okay.
And I was like, why the fuck did you say that? It was like at the time I was like, we had a lot of like queer friends and things like that, and like we were like, what the hell are you doing? You're making us look like homophobes. Yeah. And then and our manager at the time was like, oh no, don't upset them. No, like you are like I know you're like angry, but just recognise that they're doing you a solid by like giving you props in the industry. And it's like I wasn't pleased with that at all. And I had to seek out all my sort of queer friends in Brighton. Go, look, if you see this, please know that we had nothing to do with it. It's like, it's obviously got nothing to do with you guys. Aren't you fucking livid that they've done this to you? Because they make you look like homophobes. And I was furious. And
it really does.
Yeah.
Like, the more I'm
why would you even say that? And I wanted them to print a retraction. And then, like, everyone was... And other people in the band were saying, like, no, don't do that. Like, you'll annoy them. It's like, why do we have to be chummy with people who are trying to sabotage us. And you might not even see it as sabotage, but like, and that's when I started realizing how sort of heteronormative, fucking toxic male, like, that whole scene actually is. And it made me feel really angry and fucking annoyed. And like, it's like, why am I fucking doing this? And then I tried to do a couple of little stupid protests. Like, we played a front show at Old Blue last, and I decided to wear a queer sailor's outfit and had a hanky hanging out in my back pocket. Mm-hmm. No one really noticed. But I think it just coincided with my normal look. But yeah, it just annoyed me, that whole thing. And then after Aaron left, Aaron was struggling because...
why did Aaron leave?
We were on the verge of releasing the album. Yeah. But everyone had kind of grown tired.
Because you thought, like, I think he was still in the band when you did, like... Because you talked with, like, Set Your Goals and stuff, didn't you? Like,
so that was a really good tour, cool. Actually. Yeah, Set Your Goals are really nice people. And, but I stay friends with Maura from Mixtapes.
Yeah, she's now doing a band with Mike Park.
Yeah, and...
which is super cool.
So I'm supporting Mike Park.
Yes, you are. I did see this,
Ogakube Station.
That's it, yeah.
And Dan Pothast at the Prince Albert in June. It should be good. But yeah, it was just because I stayed in touch with Maura that like I even found out about her doing stuff with Mike Park.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that you like remain proper friends with her. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when I went over to yours for dinner a few years ago, you said that Maura came round the other week and stuff.
Yeah, because
you really did stay friends, you know.
Yeah, so her dad lived in England for a while,
right?
And through his work or something like that, and then his daughters were living in America, but part of his work deal was that he gets like his kids could have free flights to England anytime they wanted to visit him.
Oh, okay.
So they would come to visit England every now and then, and he was living just outside of London or something like that. So Maura came in to visit me just after I'd had a baby. So and came to meet the baby. And so the Set Your Goals tour was actually really good.
Okay.
It was really nice to meet those guys. I was already on the hesitant side of like, how douchey is this industry? Like twat bags in the scene and like bands who like exploit their position and stuff like that. And they weren't really like that. Because they were like such a bunch of nerds. Like,
right.
They're like a really odd bunch.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then like, and Mixtapes are kind of like a bunch of nerds as well.
Right.
And I just kind of felt right at home. And then like, we started doing this thing on tour where we'd cover Teenage Dirtbag.
I remember Absolute Punk promoting that like at the time. Like, I was like, it's fucking Gary on the bass or something.
Well, it was Ryan from Mixtape's idea.
Yeah.
And then nobody else wanted to do it except for Junior from... Oh, not Junior. It was Junior from Set Your Goals.
Yeah.
And me. And then, so it was just Mixtapes without their bassist. And then... Junior from Set Your Goals and me, but Junior didn't know how to play it properly, and he kept like getting it wrong all the time.
I remember that like at the time that being on the news on Absolute Punk, and like and that was weird because like it was like members of Eager Teeth Mixtapes and Set Your Goals, and I'm like, there's just Gary there, and then in the comments underneath,
I know Soupy from Wonder Years, it's like going, no Will Blood then, it's like
Will Blood.
Because
how come he knew Will Blood?
So Will used to be friends with Wonder Years and Story So Far, maybe, and Set Your Goals.
Okay.
Because his old band Chaos Days.
Was he in Chaos Days?
Yeah. My favourite UK pop punk band ever.
They had some good tunes.
I absolutely love Chaos Days.
Yeah.
So, in the chronology of Eager Teeth, Ollie replaced Aaron. Ollie went on to be in Creeper.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. And then Ollie was the drummer, the brother of our drummer Nick.
Okay.
Nick was also in This City, and Nick is now the singer of All Better.
Right.
But then things kind of ground to a halt with Eager Teeth. I was having a baby. There seems to be a significant problem with me and big life events and bands coming to an end.
Yeah.
I got married, Poindexter ended, I had a baby, and Eager Teeth ended. I think everyone just ran out of steam after a while, and then I don't know. It was quite disheartening when our manager decided to swap to his other projects that he was like more interested in, invested in, and then like, but yeah, we were struggling to get the attention of our label and our manager, and it was annoying me. And then everyone in the band was like getting frustrated with it, and I did a naughty hustle, and we'd already been instructed by our label. After we recorded our album, before we released it, I wanted to demo some new songs that I'd written.
Yeah.
And so we went to Neil Kennedy in the ranch, and I sent them to our label, and I was like, "Would you like? I'd like to hit the ground running." I thought it'd be my nice idea to do a quick succession release after the album, like an EP or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, we're gonna see how the album like progresses on its own first. We want to get like they don't really understand about zeitgeist stuff and things like that. They just want to like let everything do its natural thing.
Yeah.
And then let all the buzz disappear, and then like don't really give any kudos to productive bands at all. Like just want to go on tour instead." But like, and so they were ignoring me for ages, and I got really annoyed. And this was after Aaron had left, and it was all down to me to try and get their attention. So I deliberately leaked our our demos that we did via Punktastic and put it on a compilation. And then instantly our label rang me up, going, "What are you doing?"
They were not happy.
And our manager was like, "What are you doing?" But it had the desired effect. But no, shortly after that, though, I think I actually properly fell out with our manager, and then like we didn't really talk for years afterwards. But
are you good now or no?
Well, informally, all right.
Right.
I don't think we'll ever work with each other again.
Yeah.
But like, say hello to each other and stuff. He's just had a kid. Looks nice.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then I think Will had just lost his flavour for wanting to do a band.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. It was probably quite awkward after a while, like, and yeah, I kind of just sort of fizzled out, really. But that's not to say that wasn't what it was ever meant to do, because I kind of like, I always thought that Eager Teeth was just going to be like, we do an album and then just blaze it out there and fuck off. Like, I don't think...
So it's never going to be,
The thing that I've always maintained since then and wanted to do during then was that, like, you don't really owe anyone anything. Like, longevity and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, do what you want out of it. Like, if you're not having fun, don't even bother. Like, I'd done so many bands that weren't fun, and they were...
So you know it.
Yeah, and it's just not even... There isn't even any point. Do it at your leisure, at your fun. If it stops being fun, stop.
Yeah,
Right.
That makes sense. Okay. Should we jump forward into what you're doing now, speaking of fun, or is there anything in those sort of intervening years that you feel we should talk about?
Not overly. Like, I've done little smatterings of different bands, like moonlighted in other bands. Yeah. Mike Scott would get really annoyed with me if I didn't mention the fact that I was in Phineas Gage last summer.
Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't make it to your show. I think my drummer Bernie went down to it.
Yeah, he did. I saw him there. It was the what are they called? Mute show.
That's
Mute.
it.
The New Crossing. And then I'd actually been in Phineas Gage during Poindexter as well, before they'd hired Mike and as their fill-in bassist.
Okay. Yeah, because they're old friends of yours, right?
Yeah. And a fun fact about Phineas Gage, which they will love me to put up, which Matt actually reminded me, Matt from Phineas Gage, he pointed out that on their Wikipedia page, it says that in 2003, they were voted the ugliest band in punk rock. Oh. Which I think was very mean.
That's very mean.
And then Matt was like, yeah, you were in that band during that time. So, fair enough.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
I think that's very mean.
Yeah.
That's not a kind-hearted thing to say at all. But yeah, it was fun being in Phineas Gage last summer.
Nice that you gave a shout out to Mike as well, because I've been talking to him about coming on this as well, which hopefully we'll sort out soon. Mike's doing plenty of stuff now. I don't think Mike's ever really left the scene, really, much like myself. Yeah.
Well, I haven't really stuck to one scene. I've just gotten flitted in and out of those.
Right.
But Mike has firmly entrenched a big toe in the scene for the whole time.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I've done a couple of hardcore bands in the space of this time. I've also played in a Talk covers band, which is still going.
Oh, really?
But yeah, for a lot of the time when I was a parent, well, I still am a parent, but in the beginning bits, I realised there was all this dead time that you don't actually get to do anything, and you're just like, well, he's just having a nap, and I can't leave the house, and like, what can I do? And I just bought a Mac, and I was like, well, I'm just start pissing around like with ideas that I was never allowed to use in any of my other bands.
Right.
And I started fleshing them all out. And then in the last couple of years, especially since being single, like I've just got the opportunity to actually start building things together and getting better and better at home production. And so this led to me basically finishing off what started off as being going to be a 5-track EP, just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And now it's like a 10-track album that I've now added 2 bonus songs to. But yeah, that was... And it's like a coherent mixtape as well. Mm-hmm. Even though the genre varies wildly between...
It does.
It's kind of like just an introverted pop-punk record.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
It's not like balls to the wall, like...
Yeah.
There's one song that does that, but like... but yeah, it's tied together just because it's me, I suppose. Like, but yeah, this is the first time I've sung in a band since probably Cable Street Spy Club, but not in this style since Poindexter.
Yeah, okay.
So it's just kind of a return to writing songs that I'm not restricted by at all.
Yeah.
Like every other band I've ever been in, if I've done any songwriting, it's been on behalf of other people. Like,
yeah.
What are their bands that they're into? What do they like?
This is purely what you want to...
Yeah, this is basically if you stuck a microscope in my ear, that's what that's what you'd see on the other side. It is a little bit tailored, but it's not like everything I'd wanted to have done. But but yeah, it varies because that's the kind of thing that I was sort of feeling at the time. It's quite personal, and I never thought I'd ever do a solo record, and I also never thought that I would even play it either. I thought I would just release it and into the ether, and that would be it. But then around Christmas, I think on Boxing Day, I leaked the first song, a song called "Stephen, Is It Really So Strange?" Yeah, and it basically just sounds like Jawbreaker. But I got quite a lot of positive response from it from mates who play in bands, and they were like, "Are you ever going to play this stuff live?" And I was like, "Well, I could do, I suppose." And they're like, "Well, we'll do it." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I should start thinking seriously about this." So I actually put it together. So now I have a backing band, which includes members of River Jumpers and All Better. Mm-hmm. And we're playing a show, or our first show is going to be supporting Harker at their single launch on the 18th of May.
18th of May, where's that at? For people based in Brighton?
In Brighton, yeah. It's the Green Door store in Brighton.
Okay, yeah.
And then we're playing again, supporting Okikubo Station, which is Maura Weaver and Mike Park, their side project band, with Dan Potthas supporting, and we're opening for those guys. That's in June the 20th, I think. And
you said that's at the Prince Albert.
That's at the Prince Albert.
2 venues very close
in
to
Brighton.
each other.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I am planning to try and get us some shows in the London area and stuff as well. And there is, I can't even remember if it's actually happening, but I might be doing a solo slot supporting Koji at the New Cross Inn.
Should we try and wrap this up a little bit, mate? Like you said, and then the other stuff you want to discuss, because I want to
know what
some food and stuff. So
cool. I want to know what you're listening to.
Oh, okay, good question. What am I listening to? Stuff that wouldn't shock you. I'm gonna have to cheat and look at my
I have to as well.
Apple Music when I'm put on the spot. That's right. I don't do Spotify. I stopped doing Spotify.
Is that for ethical reasons?
No, it's my Apple Music. No, like just because the app was shit and it had loads of bugs, and this has been much better. What have I been listening to of late? Lots of things that you'd expect from me, like the new stuff from Alistair.
On a side note, is it Alistair?
Go on.
Because like one of Alistair is married to a Japanese woman, and the Scott and Rivers album that they did.
Yeah. Because Scott, he lives in Japan. We had Tim, who's the other singer from Alistair, on the podcast on Saturday. So
amazing!
about this,
Incredible.
He was a really nice guy.
Yeah. But like. I haven't liked anything that Weezer have done for a really long time.
Right.
But the Scott and Rivers album is really,
the
really
J-pop
good
stuff.
Yeah. Well, I
cool,
just love Japanese language pop punk.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a real soft spot for like Japanese language punk at the moment.
No, so aside from Alistair, a bit of The Dangerous Summer, if you know them. They've had a couple of new songs recently that have been really cool. Was a bit late to the party on this one, but there's an Irish punk band called Chewing on Tinfoil.
Oh, I've heard that name, but are they good?
Really good. Like
Cool.
the rest of the band I play in like them, and like I hadn't really given them a chance, and I checked it out. And
What sort of vibe?
so it's kind of okay. So essentially, obviously singing like Flogging Molly, but like Flogging Molly, but more straightforward pop punk.
Okay, so like gruff vocals, but pop punk.
Yeah, essentially some catchy songs.
That's cool.
I was trying to get into that. Were you aware of that Mark Hoppus?
I heard you talking about this in your last podcast.
We've got mixed feelings about that. That there's some cool things going on in it. And then what else have I added recently? Bit of Newfound Glory and Show Off. No shock horror there.
So I heard you guys talking about the From Your Screen to Your Stereo.
Oh yes,
the newest one.
Yeah, they're putting out part 3 in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
I've heard little bits of it. They just chucked out their cover of Eye of the Tiger the other day.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like,
I'm not that bothered about that song anyway, personally. So I was just like,
it's like the least favourite song on SingStar.
right.
It doesn't even have a video. It's just like a moving dot, and like that's it. But then I've always got I'm not the biggest Newfound Glory fan in the world, but I've got a massive soft spot for From Your Screen to Your Stereo 1.
Yeah.
With like Never Ending Story.
Oh yes.
They
picked the best songs on that one, and just
so good
raw versions of them.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear part 2?
Yeah, I remember it had Kiss Me on it, and it had like Je suis jamais allé from Amélie on it as well. As you know, I was very obsessed with Amélie for a while.
I remember.
From the Poindexter days of the song Breathless, which is all about Amélie. But yeah, I did hear that. It's just like it made a difference, it being so much better produced and stuff.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been into recently?
So I have been listening to lots of punk.
Okay, cool.
Well, I always champion All Better, not just because they're mates, but just because I actually genuinely think they're really, really good.
Yeah, they were certainly good when I saw them open for you guys last year.
Oh yeah, they did.
They played
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love them, and just really honest, quite cheesy, but like just really nice, big chorus pop punk songs, and quite techie in parts as well. And also, my band's drummer is also their drummer,
of course.
But other than that, I've been listening to loads of Aussie pop punk.
Oh, like, such as
like Amble and the Sniffers.
I don't know them.
Skeggs.
I thought I was up on my Aussie punk and pop punk, but both of them I don't know.
They're still pop punk, but they're like a little bit like on the sort of garagey end, but not really. But like Skeggs, Hockey Dad, Amble and the Sniffers, and that band The Chats as well. I'm on smoke out, so let me alone. Do you ever see that?
No, fuck. I don't know any of these bands.
That went viral because of a stupid video they had. But it's kind of all right.
Yeah.
But and then who else? Lots of Japanese punk. A band called Chai, who are all girl Japanese punk.
Okay.
They're really, really good. And who who I've kind of been on a big nostalgia fest lately. Like I've been listening to the Loved Ones loads.
Oh yeah.
And I really love that sound. And I love Dave.
I never know. Horse, or it's not House, is it? Yeah.
No, Dave House is the geezer out of Lucky
Pacer
13.
bloke, yeah. Old school. Yeah. What was she called?
Joe Eaton.
Joe Eaton's ex-fella back in the day.
Joe Eaton Brown now because...
Oh, did she get married?
She married James Brown from Mike's band, Lay It on the Line.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a very small world, the pop punk.
Yeah.
I've been really listening to loads of 90s pop punk, like Sam I Am and stuff like that. And like CIV. Do you remember CIV? Who were around...
Don't, no.
They were around the sort of Bouncing Souls, New Jersey era stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've got a big soft spot for New Jersey stuff.
Yeah,
so
of course.
anything Saves the Day,
Lifetime before, yeah.
And even bands you're a big fan of what are they called?
Midtown.
No, they're not from New Jersey, are they?
Yeah.
Are they?
I think they are.
Not even better. The ones that sound like Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, Gaslight Anthem.
Yeah, Gaslight Anthem. They're from New Jersey, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they brought Bruce Springsteen. It's all about the Jersey boys.
Yeah.
I love Jersey hardcore, and and you can when Gaslight Anthem first came out 10 years ago, or whatever. I was like, you can smell the flipping New Jersey melodic hardcore on them. They might be singing like Bruce Springsteen, but it's that's fucking Bouncing Souls, dude.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's
all right.
place to leave it. Yeah, that's cool. Gary, thanks so much for making the trip up here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. And it's been cool because most of our guests recently have been remotely done, which is great anyway, but it's good to hang out with an old friend face to face. So
yeah,
thanks very much.
Anytime.
So yeah, that was my chat with Gary Ye. Want to thank Gary again for making the trip up to London. Really fun to see him and spend some time together. So that was a really fun evening. Have a listen out for Gary's stuff, which is out now. His solo album, When I Grow Up to Be a Man, you can get on his Bandcamp, which is garyye.bandcamp.com. So I want to thank everyone for listening as ever. And obviously, give it, as we always say, subscribe if you can, wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.
And I can't wait for you to arrive.